I'm Maria Hall Brown. Today on LA Currents, we're visiting Barnsdall Art Park, the historic Hollywood enclave of art, architecture, and cutting-edge culture, all run by the City of Los Angeles. Later, Ann Police meets the general manager of the Economic and Workforce Development Department, Carolyn Hull. Her department is a hub of revitalizing services for these precarious times. But first, Stephen David Simon of the Department on Disability speaks to Ann Police about the vital role the department serves. With the Olympics and the World Cup bringing global visitors to LA, his department is preparing for accessibility for all.
We welcome Stephen David Simon. He is the Executive Director and the General Manager for the Department on Disability. We're so glad to have you with us today, Stephen.
Thank you so much, Ann. Great to be here.
Thanks for coming. Let's just start with the basics. What is considered a disability here in the city of Los Angeles?
Under the ADA, it's having a physical or mental impairment that impacts a major life activity. And a major life activity is hearing, seeing, talking, standing, learning, walking, bending over, your body working, your circulatory system, your respiratory system. It's really very broadly defined, and we try and support anybody with a disability. For the Social Security Administration, where it's about work and benefits, it's having a physical or mental impairment that stops you from substantial gainful employment for more than a year.
What kind of services then do you offer in the Department on Disability within the City of Los Angeles?
Sure. Well, we have a pretty broad mandate. We're supposed to ensure that every single city service, program, activity, and facility is accessible and inclusive for people with disabilities.
Okay.
Right? So we cover a little bit of everything. We're divided into 4 divisions. We do a lot of direct compliance. We have an ADA division that works mostly with other departments, like the other city departments are our clients, and to help them make their programs, activities, and facilities accessible. We do accessible communications through there, everything from sign language interpreting to captioning and so on. We have the city's AIDS Coordinator's Office as part of our department. They run the city's AIDS prevention and education programs, including the city's syringe exchanges and overdose prevention. We have a community outreach and education division. We do intake and information and referral. So if a person with a disability needs a service, even outside of city government services, we help connect them to those services. And we work with individuals with disabilities, their families, caregivers, allies, organizations that serve them, really everybody we can to make sure this is an inclusive world for people with disabilities.
I don't expect an exact number, but what is the number of people in Los Angeles requiring or using your services on the daily? Do you have a ballpark on that one? Because it's got to be big.
Right, that's actually more of a trick question than you'd think.
Oh.
If you're talking about people sort of coming in the front door or calling us, it might be a dozen to a few dozen any given day. If you're talking about a day where we are hosting an event, it might be 200 people coming to our disability art show where we're promoting artists and trying to turn their art into, sort of a living wage and workplace space. If it's the Abilities Expo, we're touching and working with 3,000-4,000 people with disabilities and their families and so on. And also if it's the community that's listening to the mayor give a press conference after the fires, for example, and we have an interpreter there. That's our department that's making sure that interpreter is there, and that's serving thousands of people as well. So any given day, the City of Los Angeles is serving thousands of people with disabilities.
Let's talk real quick about not only your emergency services division, but the DME portion of that, the Durable Medical Equipment Program. How do those programs work?
Great question. Well, a couple things. The Durable Medical Equipment Program is something in our Community Outreach and Education division. It literally provides equipment for people with disabilities. We're trying to be a provider of last resort. So if somebody needs a wheelchair or a walker or a rollator, or sometimes even a shower bench. There's some very practical things people need on a day-to-day basis that it might take months for them to apply for state benefits or federal benefits, for example. We try and get those to Angelinos. In emergency situations, that whole world changes. My department is very invested in emergency preparedness, response, and recovery, and the fires really brought that out recently. People with disabilities and an aging population are particularly vulnerable. So the DME program, temporarily we provided hospital beds. We worked on emergency backup batteries for people who had equipment that might lose power or had lost power. And these are really life-saving endeavors. Broadly, in emergency management and response for the fires, for example, we spent hundreds of hours in the Emergency Operations Center. We staffed 2 different seats in there, the Disability Access and Functional Needs seat. We make sure people with disabilities are served quickly and as best as possible. The Emergency Management Department has caches of other supplies that people need. We go into the shelters and make sure they're accessible, try and reach out directly to people with disabilities who are in that kind of space. So there's an extraordinary amount of work that goes into emergency response. The city has plans across literally all departments incorporating people with disabilities in our emergency response. And that's an absolute top priority, I think, moving forward. The fires taught us a lot. I'll add one more footnote is back during COVID, the early pandemic, we pulled together a program and fed, let's see, probably did 180,000 meals, doing 3,000 to 5,000 meals a day for people with disabilities who couldn't have safe access to stores and restaurants and food supplies. And so we worked with Access Services, the county paratransit. We worked with the zoo and the library, the places to pick up and drop off and deliver this food. So my team does extraordinary work in responding to emergencies with our city partners.
How is our transportation as far as people with disabilities are concerned, need to use public transportation? Are we up there pretty good, or does it need a lot of work?
It's such a high need that it's a tough mandate to get there. So we've got LADOT and our bus systems, we've got Metro and their bus system, and the train system. The beauty is, for example, the trains are much newer than a New York or a Washington.
Yeah.
And so we actually have a much more accessible rail route. Our buses are generally accessible, but it's important that we make sure, for example, all our drivers are trained. I have a colleague, I believe he lives in the city of West Hollywood, who has got cerebral palsy, and it's hard for him to board a bus. And he does not use a walker or a wheelchair. He doesn't like to, he can, he does sometimes. And he has just he's gotten to a bus and asked for them to put the ramp down and been told, well, you don't have a wheelchair. We don't have to do that. I said, well, no. You actually have to do it for anybody that needs that ramp to access it. So sometimes it's education. Again, I think most of our drivers are well trained for city and county or city and metro. But a lot of it's just education. Transportation is huge.
And are the Olympics and the FIFA World Cup, are those things you look to and go, okay, this is our drop dead moment. We have to have X amount of things done by this time. We have to.
The games are going to have an extraordinary impact on Los Angeles. So the Olympics and Paralympics, the FIFA World Cup, they got a Super Bowl in between there. I think we've got an LPGA championship in there. These already are becoming a driver to make sure accessibility is in place. And we're trying to work with that. The hitch is the scale it needs to be done on is truly extraordinary. It's sort of speeding up all our processes to get there. So yes, we're using the games as a catalyst to improve accessibility. I got to actually travel to Rio for the Paralympics, which was a wonderful moment, and actually sit in on the conversations with the International Paralympic Committee and International Olympic Committee. And you're competing against other cities. You're trying to sell why your city is the best for the Olympics and Paralympics. But at the same time, you're also trying to figure out how the Olympics and Paralympics are going to really change the legacy of the city you're in. It's the legacy energy. So we got our money in that. We are working very hard to get there. Again, the city budget's struggling a bit right now. Trying to figure out how to fund the games work is tough. But we are making sure that sort of disability is in every different sort of plan and grouping and work group. That's not just sort of the Department of Disability will take care of that later. It's that everyone has a responsibility to do their part in accessibility. And it's coming. And one more footnote there, it's funny because a lot of folks think the Paralympics have to really be accessible because you've got all these athletes with disabilities. Well, the Olympics are still bigger than the Paralympics, quite frankly, and more people with disabilities as spectators are going to probably show up for the Olympics than the Paralympics, just in terms of scale. Both need to be equally accessible. And again, it's for the athletes, it's for the spectators, but I was in Rio and, in a stadium and the press boxes weren't accessible. Well, there are people with disabilities in the media, right, that need to have a press box that's accessible. I also sat in a brand new stadium with a person who's in a wheelchair, a Paralympian, and one of my city commissioners, Candace Cable, and she was sitting next to me, and it was a great design for wheelchairs, and people were not using wheelchairs, the way the seats were set up, except the bar was right here across her face. I was watching the tennis match. Again, these are things that the city of LA and regionally, we're depending on not having to build a lot of stadiums, because we have a lot in place which are great, but we really need to think about how we're going to modify things to make them truly accessible and for that to be a legacy beyond the games. And our legacy, we want accessibility to be one of those top 4 or 5 items, where this city will be physically more accessible, will be digitally more accessible, and the attitude and understanding of Angelenos about inclusion and accessibility will be greater than it's ever been.
Stephen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Barnsdall Art Park was a gift to the city in 1926, donated by Aileen Barnsdall to provide accessible arts for all Angelenos. Now it's home to city-run galleries, art centers, a theater, and the UNESCO World Heritage Site that is Hollyhock House.
I'm so excited to welcome you here to Barnsdall Park, one of the city's most magnificent gems. This is one of the flagship parks that we have at the Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with the Department of Recreation and Parks. Here we are home to Hollyhock House and Residence A, the Los Angeles Municipal Art Gallery, the Barnsdall Gallery Theater, the Barnsdall Art Center, and the Barnsdall Junior Art Center. The campus was purchased initially in 1921 by Aileen Barnsdall, who over the years had a vision for a true arts campus where artists could live and perform and host lectures and have a theater and exhibit their work. And over the years, the city has been able to help steward the vision of Aileen Barnsdall.
Hollyhock House is Frank Lloyd Wright's first Los Angeles commission. He's probably America's most celebrated 20th century architect. Hollyhock House is really this exciting project where Wright was coming to California, trying to imagine what a California house should be. Wright described it as California romanza, and romanza being a musical term meaning free form. It really is a romantic embrace of the natural beauty, the creative freedom that LA represents. We are the city's only UNESCO World Heritage Site. It speaks to the importance of this site. We are the only cultural UNESCO site in California. We're joining the Redwoods and Yosemite, 2 natural sites, as California landmarks with this designation. It was a commission for Aileen Barnsdall, an oil heiress. She purchased this unique hilltop property in Los Angeles. It's one of these pretty rare green spaces in this part of town. Panoramic views of the city. We're really seeking to find opportunities to bring contemporary artists back in dialogue with these spaces, to have them bring new perspectives on this really important site. LA has such a rich and diverse art and architecture community. You know, as Barnsdall intended, this was meant to be a place of inspiration. As much as we work to make it feel like you're being transported to 1921, this isn't a static place. And to have all of these voices working collaboratively to make Hollyhock House what it is today is just such a privilege. It has been city-owned for nearly a century. What has been realized under city stewardship really is quite remarkable and is very much living up to her ambitions for the site.
One of the really exciting projects that we have going on here at the Barnsdall Art Park is a construction project to restore Residence A. As the Hollyhock House was built, Residence A was meant to serve as the director's house, essentially. So it was the vision of Aileen Barnsdall at the time to provide a residence to a theater director that was central to the Hollyhock House. And so Residence A, although it served in many capacities, started as the director's house or a guest house, and transformed after the city acquired Residence A to become sort of a youth activity center. So since 2018, it has been closed for restorations.
It is still currently under renovation. We're looking forward to being able to open it soon, and that'll become part of the tour program with Hollyhock House. So stay tuned for more details as we're able to move that process forward.
You know, most people don't realize when they come to the Barnsdall Art Park that we have our Barnsdall Art Center and our Barnsdall Junior Art Center. The Barnsdall Art Center offers many arts classes in different disciplines for adults through our Barnsdall Art Center. The Barnsdall Junior Art Center is for children and youth specifically.
Barnsdall Junior Art Center is a kids art program. We provide all different kinds of art programs for the kids age 2 years old all the way to 17 years old. Barnsdall Junior Art Center was opened 1967, and Barnsdall Art Center actually started earlier than BJAC. 1946.
The Barnsdall Art Center and the Barnsdall Junior Art Center are your centers. As a part of the City of Los Angeles, we make our facilities as accessible as possible. We have about 75 classes annually.
I believe our center is supposed to provide a safe place for all community, all ages, all races. We had a handicap art program since we opened in the 60s. They should be able to come and connect through art making. That brings the healing. We're nurturing the human connection.
We're actually very excited at the Department of Cultural Affairs to not only have the Barnsdall Art Center, the Barnsdall Junior Art Center, but also to have a gallery space for all of the children and youth to display their works. We're very proud of that.
So the Los Angeles Municipal Art Gallery has been in existence for over 50 years, and it is really, really a special place. It's a gallery where we've had the opportunity to really exhibit many what have now become well-known artists, and an opportunity for people to see emerging and artists from all different diverse backgrounds.
The Barnsdall Gallery Theater is a 300-seat performing arts space. We're tucked in a corner between the Barnsdall Junior Art Center, and then on our other side is the LA Municipal Art Gallery. So often we hear, I didn't even know this was here, I'm gonna come back. And that is the greatest thing we can hear, is knowing that we're going to have Angelinos come back, visit our space, share our space, and enjoy everything that we have to offer here. We're primarily a rental facility, so we try and make everyone's dreams come true. It is incredibly popular with community theaters, professional theaters. We have dance companies who do their concerts. We have local colleges and high schools and elementary schools that do their graduations and their culminations. We do film screenings. Young artists, emerging artists, groups with very small budgets are treated and welcomed the same way as big commercial productions. The performing arts are intrinsic to the quality of life for Angelenos, and it's invaluable to have the opportunity to be able to elevate and support the communities in which we are based, who are creating a legacy of artwork that will enrich the city of Los Angeles and its cultural identity in terms of performing arts.
So I encourage folks to come learn more about what we have at Barnsdall Park. You can find all of that information on our website at culture.lacity.gov.
In these financially uncertain times, the city's Economic and Workforce Development Department is a reassuring one-stop shop for job and business supports. General Manager Carolyn Hull tells Ann Police about the department's extensive and surprising range of services.
We're so glad to have you with us, Carolyn.
It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, glad to have you. Give us an overview of what the EWDD does.
The Economic and Workforce Development Department develops, delivers, and promotes programs and initiatives that support small businesses, that support youth development. We also have a real estate division that actually activates underutilized land so that we can provide revenue to the general fund. And we have a nationally recognized workforce development division that provides job training. We provide access to capital. We support incubators, because really our goal is to provide the residents with an opportunity to have a sustainable and living wage.
How do you support small business?
We have 10 business source centers. And through that collaboration, they gain access to capital. They have free technical support. We provide loans to small businesses as well. But the most important thing is that they're the resource that our small businesses can reach out to, that are free services, and that they have one-on-one consultation.
Talk a little bit more about the WorkSource Center. What exactly is that?
The WorkSource Centers, it's like a matching service for job seekers and employers. If you're a job seeker, you can go into one of our 17 WorkSource Centers and you can get assistance with building your resume, get assistance with doing mock interviews, job placement, understanding what training you're going to need, and it's all free. And if you're an employer and you're seeking employees, you can come to the WorkSource Center and talk about the skills that you're looking for, and if that skill set is not easily attainable, we can work with the job seekers and actually subsidize their training.
Let's talk a little bit about the JEDI Zone. First of all, terrific name. So clever. JEDI stands for Jobs and Economic Development Incentive Zone. Correct?
That's
yes,
right.
That's correct. I had to check my work. What is a JEDI Zone? What happens there?
What we found is that so many of our main streets are so vital to what makes LA for all of us. And so many of those main streets and communities need support for their small businesses. So what we did is we looked at communities and areas that were underserved, were challenged with high vacancy rates for their stores, and quite frankly, just needed a refurbishment and revitalization. So instead of looking at the city as a whole, what we did is try to concentrate resources into those areas so that it'd be most impactful.
Okay. So you're looking at areas that need help. They need what, improvement for their facade? They need improvement. What sort of improvement are you talking about making?
Well, a few things. One, in the JEDI zones, you get concierge services. We actually have staff that has walked to every business in these JEDI zones to get them engaged so that we can answer their questions. Okay. And so now they have a person in government that they can talk to, which is so critical. So when we go into a JEDI zone, our coordinators will sit down and do an intake. What are your needs? And we have programs, of course, but we want to find out, what do you need? And then we will find those services for you. We'll work with you to find those services either within government or outside of government. So for example, if you want to put up a sign, getting a permit for the sign in the city of Los Angeles is not the easiest thing to do, but really important for a business owner.
Yes.
So our concierge service will help the business owner work through the bureaucracy to get the permits that they need in order to put up the sign. Another element is commercial facades. We are looking at putting together a grant program so that the commercial facades can be completed. And we're working with a nonprofit organization that helps us with the architects and putting together all the material that an owner would need in order to do the facade.
Compliance assistance is something no one ever wants to hear about, but it's absolutely necessary, especially in a city like Los Angeles.
Absolutely, and oftentimes our small businesses are so busy just running their business that they don't even realize they're out of compliance. So having the ability again to have that concierge service with someone who can directly interface with the government system and get answers for the entrepreneur, the small business owner in a language that they can understand. And that's another thing I should point out, that all of our services are in language. Our nonprofit work source centers and business source centers work in a plethora of languages.
Yeah. You'll go find it. You'll go find the person who speaks the language that needs to be.
Exactly, whether it's Spanish, Armenian, whatever language that is, we will find the individual that can communicate with you in the language that you feel comfortable with.
I love the thought of concierge service. I mean, just the term makes it it's very upscale. I love that. The folks who are providing that concierge service, are they volunteers, or are they people who actually work within the EWDD department?
They work within EWDD.
Okay.
They're coordinators. Our workers at EWDD, when we go out to the Jedi zones, they know the names of the people who are working at EWDD.
I love that. It's personalized service.
It's a personalized service.
Yes, of course, because your neighborhood is, it's part of something much larger, but it's your neighborhood.
It's your neighborhood.
Area. Right.
And that's what we're here for. We're here to support and make sure that LA thrives.
Yeah, and yes, it absolutely needs to. Does the work of the Economic and Workforce Development Department extend into street vendors?
It does. We have a street vending program that we are collaborating with the county to start up.
Okay.
And that, again, we're providing street vendors with much of the same assistance that we have at our business source centers, which is technical assistance, providing them with funding to get to pay for their carts and permitting support. So really, street vendors are quite frankly just small businesses.
Yeah, they are. That's true. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about the youth and adult job fairs.
We are gearing up for our summer youth employment right now. And during the summer months, those are the big months for when we try to get our youth employed and into internships. I would encourage our youth to go to our social media page and to keep posted on the events that we are hosting. This is job fair season, so please stay connected with us on social media.
When someone plans on going to a job fair, especially a young adult who may not have a lot of guidance in their life, should they go prepared to do an interview on the spot?
They should. They should come prepared to be interviewed on the spot. Nice. We try to make it as easygoing as possible. Sure. So they shouldn't worry about going and buying a suit.
Right.
Just come as you are.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I love it. Okay. Do you partner specifically with other people or companies in order to get job training for folks?
We do. We partner. One of our biggest partners is the community college system. In fact, we're co-located. Our work source centers and our youth source centers, many of them are co-located at community colleges, and that allows us to leverage the resources for training, bringing in new courses. We work really closely with adult training centers.
Okay. Any other partnerships and collaborations with EWDD that you guys have over there that you'd like to speak more about?
Well, EWDD is working really closely with the mayor's office to develop strategies around the next 5 years of our workforce system and looking at those industries that are going to be the job generators for the next 20-25 years. Stay tuned.
Carolyn, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, Carolyn is the General Manager for the Economic and Workforce Development Department. We have shouted out a couple things while we've been here. I'm going to do it again. For more information, the best place to go is your website.
That's correct.
Which is ewdd.lacity.gov. But also, as we mentioned, you guys are big on social media. You guys are on Instagram, you're on Twitter, you're on LinkedIn, all the information that anybody could need about the services you folks offer over there is there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we look forward to interacting with all of our job seekers and our youth.
Very good. Thank you so much, Carolyn, for coming in. We're glad to have you back.
Thank you.